What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We are back once again for LNU. You already know what it is when you see me in front of your TV or in front of your computer or your phone, wherever you're watching at. Said the Motor City Cats are back at it. It said that we came to give you stats and not static. It said we ask that you keep your Lions news pragmatic. These three things are true, and they're always true when you see us on the screen. We got some things that we're going to get into today. What up, Doquito? It's the slow season. You know what I'm saying? So we got news and rumors to talk about. We got some things that we are getting into. As you can see from the thumbnail, as you can see from the title, things are tight on the Detroit Lions roster. Now, we're not going to do a complete breakdown of everything and everyone that's on the roster, but we just want to get a little think piece. How easy or how difficult will it be for anyone drafted now or in the future? We really have to talk about now because we don't know what the future state of this roster is going to be. We don't know what the future state of the team is going to be. But what we do think that we know is that the future contains Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Now, the future doesn't contain all the players because players have limited careers, right? Okay. So at some point, Jared Goff will move on. At some point, Jahmyr Gibbs will move on. At some point, Amon-Ra St. Brown will move on, and at some point J-Mo will move on, and so on and so forth. And we hope that they all move on by retiring Detroit Lions. Okay? Not to say that we want them to move on to another team, especially not J-Mo, because you know that's my guy. And we're going to talk about some J-Mo stuff a little bit later. But the thing is, and we're going to get into some expectations, we're going to be talking about some things from these rookies. Okay, we're going to put everything into perspective. Let's start with Tyleik Williams. No expectations of Tyleik Williams to be anything other than starter day one. Okay, the expectations of Tyleik Williams to be starter day one is because Tyleik Williams was drafted to replace the missing Alim McNeill. Alim McNeill, as I've said before, will be missing until probably Thanksgiving. Williams is going to be a beast. Tyleik Williams. Okay, I hope so. But he's going to be starting this season probably as the starter. You're probably not looking for Roy Lopez to be starting next to DJ Reader day one. Okay, so we're gonna, beef up the middle of this defensive line with Tyleik Williams. You hope that he can take up some double teams and get Aiden Hutchinson some one-on-one opportunities, along with DJ Reader taking up double teams and getting Marcus Davenport some one-on-one opportunities whenever Marcus Davenport actually plays. Because I don't know if he starts the season playing. I don't know if you want him to sit out until the middle of the season. I don't know if you want to start him on PUP. I feel like strategically putting Marcus Davenport on the PUP list to start the season is probably your best course of action. Because he is not what I call long for the season. So I would, I don't think the PUP list is used strategically. Like, let's purposely put someone on the PUP list to stash them as much as you would think that it is. But I think in this situation, it is very, very, it's very pertinent to do that. I want to see Marcus Davenport week one dominating next on the other side of Hutch. But also I understand that we need Marcus Davenport as the season goes on. Now, here's the other part. Marcus Davenport is necessary Keithos has been saying this hold out Davenport to the playoffs. That's okay, but here's the other part. Okay, and this is why we always get into this. It's the off season. If you guys are tired of hearing about it, I'm sorry, but this is important. This is why you signed Zadarius Smith, because our season, our schedule is not a cakewalk. Okay, it's much more difficult than last season's schedule. Okay, this is truly a first place schedule that we are playing. So we need all hands on deck from week number 1. Okay, so Marcus Davenport being held out is probably smart, but can you afford to hold him out? Because who else do you have? Okay, I'm sounding like an advocate for Marcus Davenport. I'm the Marcus Davenport hater apparently, but no, I am an advocate for Marcus Davenport. Why? Because I understand how good Marcus Davenport is as an NFL player. Excuse me, I'm pouring. All right, this is all right. I got that. Can you see it? Got that purple stuff in my cup. Okay, but it's not lean. It's just, it's an energy drink. Okay. All right. I'm trying to wake up, not get more sleepy. So that's what I would do. Okay. Number two, we have Tate Ratledge. Okay. Tate Ratledge is going to compete. He's going to compete for that guard spot vacated by Kevin Zeitler. He's also going to compete to replace Graham Glasgow. Now, here's the thing. Graham Glasgow has been on the decline. We do not know if Graham Glasgow was on decline because he was injured. We do not know anything because no specifics have been given to the public. So it could be just Graham Glasgow is getting old and he's getting towards the end of his career. Graham Glasgow is also very valuable because he plays multiple positions and he can either start or back up multiple positions. Okay, so Tate Ratledge is going to be in that mix, and you're probably going to see him out there day one in some capacity. He's also competing with Christian Mahogany for the other guard spot. So I think we're in good position with the young guys that we have in that room, in the offensive line room. Okay, number 3, Isaac TeSlaa. Okay, Isaac TeSlaa, again, is a guy that we expect to make the team. The reason that we expect him to make the team is because all of the assets that were given up to get him. He's expected to push Tim Patrick for some playing time. Okay, I don't know what his actual impact is going to be day one, week one, year one. I don't know what that is going to be. I think that they're probably, because he was Brad Holmes' favorite receiver in the draft, doesn't mean that he's going to have these packages. Brad Holmes, again, is the general manager. Brad Holmes doesn't have anything to do with the game day planning. Brad Holmes gives you the groceries. You know, he shops for the groceries. He gives them to you, and you have to go ahead and cook and make the meal. So the chef is none other than Dan Campbell. I'm pretty sure, because they're always in lockstep, I'm pretty sure Dan Campbell loves Isaac TeSlaa as well and probably wants to see him on the field. Johnny Moe is probably cooking up some packages and things of this nature that they can have him on the field. Okay, so this is rounds 1 through 3. Okay. Now, after that, after rounds 1 through 3, it gets a bit dicey. Okay. It gets a bit dicey. Because here's the thing. We're supposedly going BPA when we draft, but all 3 of those players that I named fill the need. Tyleik Williams filled the need of, we don't have Aleem McNeil. Tate Ratledge fills the need of, well, we lost Kevin Zeitler, and also Graham Glasgow is in decline. Isaac Tesla feels a less pressing need. He feels a need, I believe, next year as Tim Patrick is on another 1 year deal. And also maybe Tim Patrick insurance. We know Tim Patrick has had 2 major knee injuries. We know he had a great season last year. He came back fully healthy and all these things. But again, that's got to be in the back of your mind. Okay, we've dealt with people like Marcus Davenport. We dealt with people like Emmanuel Mosley, and we didn't have any real insurance for them. Not the first year that they were here. Marcus Davenport, we still don't have any insurance for him. This is why, hello, Big Z, line 1, are you there? Hi, this is Brad Holmes. You signing? Stop playing. Okay. With Tim Patrick, now we have some insurance. Okay. Isaac Tesla is insurance. Everybody wants to crown him as our Puka Nacua, and I think we just need to pump the brakes. If he comes out and he is, that's fantastic. Okay. That is fantastic. But I think year 1, he will work as insurance for Tim Patrick, and he will get in some packages. Keitho says, I think Glasgow starts the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts it. Think Z is coming back. He's just watching for training camp. I think he's missing training camp as well. But while I do want him to come back, and I would be so excited right, if he comes back. There's the other issue here. If Big Z is sitting out training camp, guess what he's looking at? He's also looking at injuries around the league. And if someone who is a contender has a major injury at the defensive line or the defensive end position, then you have to look for him to be in the mix. And if they're willing to overpay, right? If it's a bag type of deal, because he is 32. So this would be his last shot at a contract. So if it's a, hey, give us the bag kind of deal and we'll come play for you. Yeah, we'll ring chase because you're a contender, but we just want that money. Okay. If they give them a better deal than Detroit, then you have to see, is Cash Doll enough? Is the fan base enough? Is his nephew being probably on the practice squad? Because I don't think Jackson Meeks has a real shot at making this team. I think he's going to be a practice squad player, which means that he'll be able to see his uncle every day in practice because he's in practice squad. Okay. Will all of that be enough to sway him to stay in Detroit and re-sign with Detroit? That's the one thing. One Pride says agreed. I'm chopping at the bit to get Big Z back. I think it's 80% he's coming back. However, that is a good point, being that the NFL is a business. Correct. Okay. So we've got our needs filled with those first 3 guys. Okay. Now, help me out here. I was pissed. Okay. I was pissed after the Isaac Tesla pick, not the pick, but the trade and everything that we gave up. And I was so ready for us to be getting an edge. Okay. I didn't watch day 3 of the draft. Okay. So I know was Miles Frazier our next pick? Was Miles Frazier our next pick? Okay. Let's look at Miles Frazier. Miles Frazier, it wouldn't surprise me if he makes the team. Why? Because depth. We just said Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge competing for one of two spots. One spot we know that's open with Kevin Zeitler being gone. One spot we speculate whether Graham Glasgow is ultimately going to be replaced. Keto says he thinks he's going to start the season. I don't know if he finishes the season. Okay, especially if he has the kind of decline that he had last season, from the middle to the end. I don't know if he finishes it. You've got Manu, who's a project, who's supposedly coming along quite well. And after that, who else do you have as far as youth? Okay, because we got Taylor Decker, he's on his last contract. Okay, we've got Frank Ragnow, who you never know. Okay, Frank Ragnow is, as long as he's okay dealing with the pain that he has to deal with to play, and as long as Hank Fraley is there, then those are two things that are in the pot for Frank Ragnow to continue coming back. I don't anticipate Frank Ragnow being here for too much longer, just based off the injuries, okay, and what he has to deal with. So we got Taylor Decker, we got Frank Ragnow, we've got Graham Glasgow. As we said, he's got to be probably on his way out soon as well. And then we've got Penei Sewell, who is the stalwart and is probably going to be here an additional 10 years. Okay, that's who we look for Penei Sewell, that kind of career, 8 to 10 years. Okay. Other than Penei Sewell, okay, who's going to be here long term on the offensive line? You see my point? So with Miles Frazier, I would not be surprised to see him make the team. He is a 5th round pick. He is going to be depth. He's going to be quality depth, because he's one of those late round finds that Brad Holmes is so good at finding. All right, here's the next one. Let's see what y'all are saying. Nobody in the LNU chat. What up, though? Live Lions Talk on Memorial Day. Let's go. Yes, I kind of one of the only ones. Yep, AI says Frazier went 3rd round, number 70. I wanted Josiah Stewart. Me too. Vicky Esters sending condolences and prayers for all those fallen. Shout out Vicky Esters. All right. The next one. Okay. Ahmed Hassanin. Okay. I've said this before. I know his brother doesn't agree with me, which is why he didn't want to come on my show. Let's just throw that out there. And plus, he's working with the enemy, so shots fired. Ahmed Hassanin, again, I've done videos, and my stance has been this. The person in the story, the football player, these things are one and the same, but also different, and they have to be separated. The story is great. He is the first Egyptian ever to be drafted in the NFL. He's only played football for 5 years and found himself in the NFL. He did have a lot of good production at Boise State. Okay. But it's Boise State. You know who else was a dog at Boise State? Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore had a very brief career as an NFL quarterback. I don't think he was ever a starter He was a backup. He was holding, a clipboard, and he became an offensive coordinator, very quickly and things of this nature. So he was I think he did he ever do any coaching for the Lions? I know he was on the Lions roster. Anyway, don't quote me on his career path, but he was also balling out at Boise State. Who do we think is really, really going to ball out, because it doesn't matter if he went to Boise State or if he went to Alabama? Ashton Jeanty, right? What up, though, Tactical Sport? So it's a small school. For what the Detroit Lions like, he's undersized. Okay. He's 6'2". I don't know his weight exactly, but Donovan Ezeraku was also 6'2". Donovan Ezeraku was like 6'2", 250. And he was a guy that nobody thought that we would draft because he was just 6'2". So on the edge, they want guys who are like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". I think Hutch is 6'7", right? Marcus Davenport has been called 6'6" and 6'4". I don't know how. You're either 6'6" or you're 6'4". I mean, maybe you're 6'5". You're in the middle of the two. Think Marcus Davenport is between 260 to 280. Okay. Hutch, similar size and build. This is what they like. So Ahmed Hassanin comes in, undersized, 6th-round pick, small school guy. Okay. I've said before, I don't have any expectations for him. If he makes the team, well, I think he'll probably make the team. He's going to be a fan favorite. Would I be surprised? Here, watch. Would I be surprised to see Ahmed Hassanin make the team? No. Would I be surprised to see Ahmed Hassanin make the practice squad? No. Okay. Because it's a very different game. The NFL, he's got to develop. He's got to learn some things. He's got to get his feet wet in the pros. What up, though, Lisa? So I don't know that he doesn't make the team. I would say that he's probably going to make the team simply because we need that position. Okay. And we don't have a whole lot of difference makers at that position. We've got Marcus Davenport. I'm talking about outside of Hutch. Hutch doesn't need to be mentioned. Okay. We've got Marcus Davenport. That's it. Okay. Difference makers on the edge, opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport. That's the list. That's the tweet. Okay. Next, we've got our 2 7th-rounders. Dan Jackson and Dominic Lovett. Gotta love it. Dan Jackson, for safety depth, might not make this team. There was Ian Kennelly. He is the undrafted free agent that they brought in from Grand Valley State, who looks more the part. Dan Jackson is undersized. Dan Jackson doesn't have really the athletic profile, but he's just smart and he's instinctive. Is that someone that makes your team? Again, if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. If he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, the reason is this. After Kirby and Brian Branch, who do we have? Okay. After Kirby and Brian Branch, who do we have? Morris Norris. I'm just letting that sink in. Morris Norris. who came to the team last year as a corner, who was he's a converted corner, goes to safety. Did y'all notice in the Commanders game that Iffy went out? Did y'all notice that? And do you know who came in for Iffy in the Commanders game? And this is after Amik Robertson went out with a broken arm. I think it was the first series of defense, right? Did y'all notice Morris Norris? I did. Because at the safety position, nah. One pride says, I think in 3 to 4 years, we could see Hassanin start depending on his growth. Of course, he's another reason I'd like Z back with him and Hutch, showing him he could develop fairly well. Right. Okay. Lisa says that is if Davenport actually plays. Come on, have some hope. Have some hope, Lisa. Davenport's going to play a little bit. Hopefully sometime if they don't have him practice in training camp. Right. I think Dan Jackson at least makes the practice squad, possibly. Doughboy Steve, don't mind me. I'm dealing with the Reuben sandwich. This Reuben sandwich, okay. Yes, right. So that's why I'm saying because of Morris Norris. And who else? Lauren Strickland. So Lauren Strickland was one of those guys that we just heard so much about at camp. And he was just a training camp star. He was a training camp stud. He's not someone that you're comfortable with if someone major goes down. I've heard people say, well, you know, if something, because I made the same argument when I was talking about Davenport, and you know, people coming at my neck about, well, who is good when their star goes down, and I'm like, that's not the point. For your first string guy to go down, it's a next man up situation. Who are the next men? Okay, because when we're talking about the quarterback, that's generally like, oh, if this guy goes down, you're screwed. Okay, because backup quarterbacks, because of the difficulty of the position, are generally not very good. The best backup quarterbacks can steady the ship, and make sure you don't lose all the games. Like your backup quarterback can get you 1 or 2 games, hopefully, right? If you have a really good one. Matt Castle was the exception, right? Because Matt Castle got paid off of being Brady's backup because they went down. Brady went down and they still went 11-5, but missed the playoffs. And then Matt Castle went to Atlanta and got pizzed and sucked as a starter. So quarterback is generally that situation. And in the past, also for us, it's been cornerback, because when the cornerbacks went down, we had trash behind them. Okay. Lauren Strickland is not a guy that if anyone went down, I'd be comfortable rolling out there. Lauren Strickland is a guy who plays hard and he throws his body around and all these things. But when it's big boy football, when it's ones versus the ones, Lauren Strickland is the kind of guy that you look at and you're like, oh, he's in the game. Lots of plays his way. Anybody who's a wide receiver on his side, look for the ball. Okay. So yes, Dan Jackson, Ian Kennelly, you might have these guys make the team. The odd man out right now, unfortunately, that I can very confidently say probably will not make this team is Dominic Lovett. Dominic Lovett, gotta love it, is a 7th round wide receiver who has a lot of quickness, has a lot of twitch, Um, might be like a slightly quicker Amon-Ra St. Brown. Um, I like what I've seen from him, but again, he's a 7th rounder, and we don't expect that he makes the team. Now, here's where I would like to see Dominic Lovett. If he doesn't make the team, I definitely would like to see him on the practice squad. Why? Because I believe that Dominic Lovett is a wide receiver that while he was drafted in the 7th round for the Detroit Lions, he probably could make someone else's roster. Right? The Detroit Lions as a receiving core is pretty stacked right now. I can pretty much guarantee you that what we are not going to see this training camp is all the hubbub and the hullabaloo that we had last training camp. It was like, oh my God, we need a 3rd wide receiver. We don't have one. Khalif Raymond can't do anything, right? We're not going to see that this year because we got everybody. Okay. We got all the positions covered in the receiving room. All right. Let's see what you guys have to say here. No, because he should not have been out there. Are you talking about Morris Norris? Strickland was another Davenport, Lauren Strickland. I didn't really notice Strickland because he's he's like a 3rd, 4th stringer. But right now we have no safety backups, none. We've got Morris Norris and we've got Lauren Strickland. Lovett may make the team or practice squad as a returner. He could make it as a returner. Okay. But also that's kind of Khalif's role. So we'll see. We'll see with that. Yes, Morris Norris. No, Morris Norris should not have been out there. Okay. Because he's a converted corner to a safety. All right. So projecting who makes this team from there. All right. Now, we do have an undrafted free agent that is supposed to have an eye kept on him. That is Keith Cooper. Keith Cooper is 6'5", 280 pounds. He looks like a defensive tackle, but he's an edge. He's out of Houston. He's pretty good. If you watch his tape, he's pretty good. Now, again, I don't have expectations for players who were drafted in the 5th round or later. I don't have expectations for players who were signed as undrafted free agents. But again, due to our situation, due to our lack of depth on the edge, due to Keith Cooper being kind of the body type and the size and the athletic profile that they're looking for from their edges. Okay, they like the bigger guys that can crush the can, push the pocket. I think that he's a guy that you should probably keep your eye on. I believe they did sign him, so they'll be carrying him into camp, and we'll see what happens with him. Kickoff returner, not punt returner. Remember, Khalif is a kickoff returner. Remember what he did with the against the Titans. Those 2 like 70+ yard returns, those were kickoff returns. Or maybe one of them was a kickoff and one of them was a punt. All right. And as I said before, Jackson Meeks probably will be practice squad. What I can say about this year's crop of players that were drafted and signed is that I think we're in a better position than we were last year. Okay. Last year, like I said, our safety depth was Brandon Joseph, who got let go very quickly after getting a DUI, and Lauren Strickland. Now we're looking at possibly Ian Kennelly, who Again, he was undrafted. He went to Grand Valley State, but Matthew Judon also went to Grand Valley State. So I'm not going to sleep on him just because he went to a small school, but I'm just talking about depth. I'm not talking about him becoming a star or even a starter. Okay. Dan Jackson, we know about him running Kirby Smart's defense at Georgia. I just feel like we have higher profile guys than we had last year, even though they may be undrafted or drafted very, very late. And I think those are the kind of guys that round out our practice squad. Guys like, Mitchell Agood, like they're still going to be there. But it's just, for me, it's just kind of poop or get off the pot. There's going to be a lot of Lions creators this year. Like, what? See, this guy last year, I told y'all I was ahead of the curve. I told y'all Mitchell Agood was going to be a monster. Stop it, bro. Like, when someone like shows out in camp or shows out in the preseason and you never hear their name again during the regular season, that tells you something. So, if you were waiting for Mitchell Agood to pop last season and he barely could get called up when we had all those freaking injuries, that should tell you something. Just pay attention. Pay attention. Okay. If Mitchell Agood was that dude, okay, that rhymed unintentionally, but if Mitchell Agood was that dude, you wouldn't have seen the likes of El Quadin Muhammad. You wouldn't have seen the likes of Jamal goddamn Adams coming in to play linebacker. Okay. He was in the building for 3 days and became a linebacker after being a safety his entire career. Okay. You wouldn't have seen Quan Alexander. Okay. The ghost of Quan Alexander. You wouldn't have seen guys like this coming in off the street if your practice squad guys were the ones that you thought that they were. Right now, if you want to crown them, then crown them. But they are who we thought they were. Practice squad guys. All right. Anyone who can chase the QB towards Hutch would work. I just want to see someone else chase the QB and corral him and put him on the ground. I love Hutch, but I don't want Hutch to have to do everything. You know what I mean? I just don't want, because when you are that one dimensional, offensive coordinators, they're going to figure out a way to scheme around that. Like, okay, listen, you want everyone to go towards Hutch. And I've said this before, and this is what they were doing before. Triple team Hutch. Okay, double team him initially and then send a back out to Chip, but send a tight end out to help. You know what I mean? Can't really do much when you got 3 guys in your face. Maurice Alexander was kickoff returner. No, he wasn't. Maurice Alexander was not on this roster much. He was no. And I'll tell you how I know this. Maurice Alexander in the preseason was the guy that you held your breath every time he went back there, because he was going to fumble it. He was going to muff it. You were just relieved when he caught it clean. So he did not make it to the season on the active roster. He was cut. He got brought back from the practice squad, and he got brought back to the practice squad, and I think he may have appeared in a couple, maybe 1 or 2 regular season games. Maurice Alexander was a backup corner. He's a wide receiver. I think you're thinking about the wrong person. Maurice Alexander. Listen, no. I'm telling you, Yes, you're thinking about Dorsey. Okay. And remember, Dorsey went out mid-season with that broken, I think it was a broken ankle. Okay. Yeah, so Maurice Alexander wasn't doing nothing. Yeah, I got it. All right. So again, the practice squad guys, they're just not and I know everyone is looking for this like the gym to find from the practice squad and like, oh my God, he's gonna do something. We didn't have anybody on the practice squad last year that was gonna do anything. The only people that that were on the practice squad and then came to do something was like El Qadim Muhammad, who just got brought in and put on the practice squad and was like immediately upgraded. I know they're high on Miles Adams, because he came in, he got on the practice squad and immediately got taken to the game because we had all those injuries. St. Brown did some punt return. Yeah, that's some. We're talking about someone who's going to make the team as a punt returner, as a returner. Not saying that Leaf can't, but I believe they're looking for his replacement. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we talk about his contract and things of that nature. Um, I mean, it's much like Alex Anzalone. I feel like these fabric players, these glue players that they have, these players that they love so much, that they always are talking up, talking up, talking up. Which one of them have you seen them get rid of so far? Now it comes to a point where a team is ascending, like our team is, and you have to get rid of some of those guys. But again, as I've said, with the salary cap not being an actual thing, because you can just move money everywhere all the time and you can hide it and you can put it here and there and you can change it and you can convert it from being one thing to another thing. There's too many loopholes. I don't think Alex Anzalone's deal keeps him out. I don't know that Leaf doesn't get another deal. You know, I don't know if they don't just, bring him back on a lesser deal. There's just a lot of stuff. And we'll see, though. We'll see. Because now we're coming up to a situation where the perception, the perception may not be the reality. Again, the New Orleans Saints were $100 million over the salary cap. Okay, and I know how you get over the salary cap like that is because of the way that you structure the salary cap, and you're probably going to look at option. What do they call them? Option bonuses. Okay, you look at option bonuses and you look at void years. Okay. If all those things hit without an extension, if all those things hit because you've cut or you've traded a player, that's when you get into trouble. But I look for them to stash that money and move that money around. They've got their capologist there. I just don't. I don't think that we're even in a position where we would be $100 million over the salary cap if everything just kind of crumbled. Contract and age. Holmes said they're looking to get younger. I agree that they're looking to get younger. I think Khalif Raymond is more of a utility guy. I would not be surprised if Lovett is brought in as his replacement, but we'll see what happens. I think Khalif Raymond is more of a do-it-all type of player, and they love him. So, like I said, we'll have to see who is on the chopping block. and we'll have to see how it ends with them. Well, Raymond is likely on his last season if he doesn't get cut. I don't think he'll get cut. I don't see any reason for him to get cut. Brad's good with the money. Very good. Right? And that's not all Brad Holmes. That's that's their crack team of capologists. But as I've said before, I mean, all you need to know about affording players is that the money comes from the owner. Okay. And there's so many, I've done some videos on it. So after the show, you guys can go find it. Also after the show, if you've not subscribed to the Motor City Cats podcast on YouTube, please do me a favor and go to YouTube and search Motor City Cats, and you will see this beautiful individual pop up on your screen, and you can hit the subscribe button, and then you can share it with others to let them know that the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it and giving you stats and not static and keeping your Lions news pragmatic. We're doing all those things at once because we multitask. But again, as I said, all you need to know about contracts is that the money is based on the owner. Yes, the Detroit Lions owner is a billionaire, but I think we're one of the lowest cash rich owners. I think we're number like 28 or something like that. There's only 14. The Bears are below us. And you see the Bears spending money like water. So it can happen. Don't be surprised when you see certain moves get made. People are restructuring their contracts. People are taking, $60 million cap hits and turning them into $1 million cap hits because I just gave you the whole $60 million as a signing bonus. Things like that are happening. All right. There were some other things that I wanted to talk about today. Speaking of receivers, and I did say that we're going to talk about my man a little bit later. So now is the time to talk about him. We got an article from John Macaron, Detroit Lions on SI. He says Jameson Williams' role with the Lions has always been unique. The Detroit Lions are expecting wideout Jameson Williams to take another step forward in 2025. Since his debut back in 2022 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the speedy wideout has been under the microscope. I believe his debut was against the Minnesota Vikings, where the first pass that went to him was a 50-yard bomb that he caught for a touchdown. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? JMO historian here. The speedy wideout has been under the microscope. Many believe he has the potential to be in the conversation with the best receivers in the league. Recently, PFF profiled the former first-round pick for a fantasy football piece and highlighted how unique his usage was the past couple of seasons. As PFF explained, his role with the Lions has always been unique. Early in 2023, Williams played more on early downs and less on late downs, and then that flipped in the middle of the season. Last year, he was an X receiver in base with Amon-Ra St. Brown at Z, and then both players shifted to 3 receiver sets, with Tim Patrick taking the X spot, while the Lions drafted Isaac TeSlaa, who was more of a slot or Z receiver in college. His measurables suggest he should be an X receiver and not much of a threat to Williams' playing time. I don't know that anyone said that Isaac TeSlaa is going to. Okay, I've heard it. Okay, I've heard people say that Isaac TeSlaa is a Williams replacement, which is crazy. It's crazy. All right, you don't replace a guy that runs a 4.1 with a guy that runs a 4.4. I'm just saying. Different body type, different size, different style of receiver. Okay, so in 2024, there was a concerted effort to get the former Alabama wideout the football in many more situations. Williams started his career as strictly a deep threat. He ranked in the top 7 in average depth of target and deep target rate from 2022 to 2023 among wide receivers with at least 250 routes. Last season, the goal became to get him the ball in more situations, writes Nathan Jahnke. He increased his deep targets by 2, his medium targets by 18, and his short targets by 21 compared to 2023. His 8.4 yards after the catch per catch was the best among wide receivers last season. Essentially, he was the Yak King on average. Essentially, 8.5 yards after the catch per catch. Okay. So if you threw it to him for 2 yards, he was guaranteed to get you 10. That's all I'm saying. All right. One of the main conclusions that would allow fantasy football owners to be more comfortable drafting Williams is the strong potential he is going to be. He is going to be an even larger part of the Lions offense this season due to his exceptional skill set. So then there's a chart here that says, let me see if I can blow it up. It's a look at Jameson Williams utilization. Let's see, we just blow this up. Okay. So in 2022, he played 6 games. The 2 receiver set role, second half primary backup X, the 3 receiver set role, second half primary backup Z. Okay. And then it just goes, it gives you a bunch of like percentages and stuff like that. Look, we said it, we said what we said. Okay. We already said it. So I'm not going to bore you with all of that stuff. But anyway, man, JMO is a wide receiver that is not simply a deep threat anymore. Okay. JMO is a wide receiver who is all around utilized. He's utilized in the short, he's utilized in the intermediate, and he's utilized deep. So for those that think that he's simply a one-trick pony and he's a deep threat only, and this is why he's not going to be re-signed, stop it. Get some help. All right. So what do you guys think? This is my question in the chat. What do you guys think is the ceiling for JMO's production this season? I think he's going to get pretty damn close. Okay. No, I think if we're talking about overall, all around, all the yards, all purpose, I think he's going to have 1,500 yards total. And I think he's going to have 10 to 12 touchdowns. I know it's ambitious, but think about it. Last season, he missed 2 games. He had 1,001 yards receiving. I think he had 200 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns, right? So if you put those 2 games in there, now he's got 2 more games potential for rushing and receiving. Let's say he gets 50 yards rushing in those games and 50 yards receiving in those games. Okay, and I'm talking about in both games. What does that give you? How many more yards does that give you? 200. Okay, and that puts his total at just over 1,400 yards. Okay, and let's say in those 2 games he gets 1 touchdown each. So that puts you at 12 touchdowns. So it's not that ambitious. Tactical Sports says 1,200 receiving yards, 200 yards rushing, 9 TDs. Okay, not bad. I think the sky's the limit for. Let me see. Let me put your on. Okay, let's show it again. I thought I had a freeze right there. I think the sky is the limit for JMO. He kind of reminds me of Rocket Ismail at least speed wise. um, yeah, he also could do some returning. They don't want him back there though. They don't want him back there. The risk for injury apparently is too great. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I'd love to see JMO return some kicks or punts in some late game situations where we just gotta have a big return. Because if you give that dude a seam up the sideline, it's over. It's done. What are your thoughts on our newbies? I did a whole show. I know you probably got in late, but the whole first like half hour, 40 minutes was about the new guys. Mr. Morale 313, what up, though? 1,100 yards passing, 200 yards rushing, 9 TDs. Okay. All right. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Y'all need to get off the fence, though. Trying to give him 9 TDs. You don't want to go double digits. You know? I said, what did I say? 12 touchdowns? Yeah, I think I said 12. 1,500 yards total, 12 touchdowns. Is it still baseball season, softball season? Oh, I also have something something in the works. I don't want to say too much about it now. But chances are y'all gonna see me around somewhere else as well. I get around. Round and round. Round we go. I get around. Yeah. You know what it is. Use the hashtag. A lot of targets for that ball, though. So the reason that I believe that his yardage is going to go up is not necessarily because remember, he did 1,000 yards with the least amount of targets in the NFL, right? He had the least amount of catches or targets for any receiver in the NFL that got 1,000 yards. I think that dynamic is going to continue. Okay. Number one, the reason for that, like I said, he led the league in yak average, 8.4 yards after the catch on average. Okay. He also, this season, Johnny Moe has come in and says chicks love the long ball. Okay. So he's going to be the guy that Jared Goff targets down the field. I think that they are going to want to take at least 5 deep shots a game. I think the scheme and the game plan is going to allow 3. Okay? If you hit on 1 every game, okay? Let's say you hit on 1 every game. It's a deep shot. It's 50 yards. Okay. Now let's take 50 yards and multiply it by 10. That's 500 yards. Okay. Now let's multiply. Now let's say 50 by 7. That's 350 yards. That's 850 yards. Very quick math. You see how I did that? Very quick math. 850 yards, 1 deep shot per game. I'm just saying 50. A flat 50. It's probably going to average out because you might get some that are 40. You might get some that are 60, 70, maybe even 80. Okay. That's just on deep shots. 1 deep shot every game connected 50 yards. That's 850 yards. Right? If they're taking 3 deep shots a game, it is very feasible to believe that they'll hit on at least 1. Okay. And the way that if you want these opportunities, if you want these big explosive play opportunities, then you've got to scheme it to where Jameson Williams is one-on-one running down the field. If Jameson Williams is one-on-one running down the field, I don't know what corners we're playing this year that can match up, unless Nate Wiggins, because Nate Wiggins runs a 4.2. Right? And he's bigger, taller than Jameson Williams. So he's got longer strides. He could keep up with him down the field. So that Baltimore game, if you put Wiggins on him, which would be smart for them, that might be the game where you see that deep shot didn't really happen. Unless they can get him on another corner, scheme-wise, and then get him down the field. All right, baseball is finished. Did y'all get the chip? You did not get the chip. All right, well, you get them next year. It's okay. You're Lions fans. You know what it is. I'm sorry I had to do it. I'm sorry. I get what you're saying. However, if JMO has 1,512 TDs, who is not getting the ball? That's what I'm saying. It's not about not getting the ball. We don't have to. You don't have to have a whole bunch of targets for JMO. You know what I'm saying? If you hit on one deep shot every game, just one, and it's 50 yards, that's 850 yards. Okay? So that's him getting 50 yards per game, which is not going to happen. He's going to have more than 50 yards per game. Right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it has to be a high volume of targets for him to get his yards. That's my point. So you still have enough to go around for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tim Patrick, Sam Laporta. You still got enough to hit the running game, all this other stuff. And then because our offense is so balanced, that deep shot is generally going to come off of play action. Jahmyr Gibbs is killing you. David Montgomery is killing you. Now everyone comes up to load the box to try to stop that. You hit him with the play action. You better not bite, because JMO is going to be streaking wide open. JMO is going to have a chance to sit down, have a meal, you know what I'm saying? Brush his teeth, have dessert, brush his teeth again, get up and catch the football. Because if you got man coverage on JMO, he's going to beat you by 3 to 5 yards. Ask Mikey Sainristil. Mikey Sainristil had man coverage on JMO and got beat by 3 to 5 yards. Just the ball was late. I get around Tupac. You know what it is. If they can get JG to let the ball fly, JMO will have 13 to 1,400 yards and 10 to 13 TDs. And that's the goal. That's Johnny Mo's goal. We know Jared Goff can hit a 50-yard air yards down the field. We know, because we've seen him do it before with JMO. JMO got the ball more. Laporta got the ball less. So then Laporta. No problem. Listen, we love Sammy Potts, but the potential for a touchdown is more so when the ball is in the hands of JMO than it is in Sammy Laporta's hands. So I don't mind. I don't play fantasy football anyway. So Johnny Mo came in and said he wants explosive plays. He wants deep shots. He wants all that. So naturally, And explosive doesn't have to be a deep shot. If you've got explosive plays and you've got the run game popping, guess what's open? The middle of the field. And that's where Sam Laporta is gonna eat. That's where Amon-Ra St. Brown primarily eats. If you've got them committing to try to stop the run, and when they commit to try to stop the run, you go over to the top and you make them pay over the top, it's just going to be kind of soft zone coverage because they can't really do anything. Okay, you give us the run game, we'll kill you. You try to take away the run game, we'll kill you over the top because you've got to commit too many resources to come down. And we've got a wide receiver named JMO that you can't single cover. Okay, we've got a wide receiver named Amon-Ra St. Brown that you can't put a linebacker on. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to still be a pick your poison type of offense, and I think it'll be rather balanced. That's just my take. What do y'all think? Let me put yours here. A QB has about 4,000 to 5,000, 4,500 a year. If Gibbs gets 600, St. Brown 1,500, Laporta 800, Patrick 1,500, Leaf 100. Tell me JMO can still get 1,500. Yes, JMO can get 1,500 because they're incorporating the deep ball. That's my point. And I gave you a baseline of 50 yards. Okay, I gave you a baseline of 50 yards. With JMO streaking down the field to catch a football, 50 yards can turn into 70, can turn into 80. That's what I'm saying. If they are successful in getting, and also here's the thing. If they're successful in getting one deep shot touchdown a game, that also gives you an extra possession because it's a very quick possession. It's a very quick shot, right? If you're on the 20-yard line and you hit them for 80 yards, you're right off the field. The defense is back on and you're going to get an extra possession. This is my point. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to happen, but I'm saying there is a world in which it can. That's all I'm saying. They always run a balanced offense, right? Zach J. Zach J says 17 times 50 equals 850 yards. That just means he didn't get suspended again. LMAO. And that's what we want. We don't want him to get suspended again. How many TDs did Laporta miss when throwing the ball, and how many did JMO get when throwing the ball? I'm not. See, you twisted my words. I said the potential, because we're talking about big plays. Okay, I'm not talking about red zone targets. I'm talking about big plays. Okay, JMO is more of a threat to score from anywhere on the field than Sam Laporta is. Okay, if you're on your own 20-yard line and you throw the ball to Sam Laporta, what's the likelihood of it going 80 yards? If you're on your own 20-yard line and you throw the ball to Jameson Williams, even if it's a short pass, the likelihood of it going 80 yards is a lot higher. That's my point. Because of the types of players that they are. Okay? Just like Jahmyr Gibbs. when you give him the ball, what is the likelihood of it being a touchdown from anywhere on the field? Right? What is the likelihood of it being a touchdown from anywhere on the field with David Montgomery? Okay. Now we know David Montgomery has a 75-yard touchdown, which is longer than one that Gibbs has. Gibbs has a 70-yard touchdown. However, my point is David Montgomery considered the home run hitter? No. Who's considered the home run hitter? Jahmyr Gibbs, right? If David Montgomery steps up to the plate, you're like, oh, he might get you a single, a double, maybe even a triple, occasionally a home run. When Jahmyr Gibbs steps up to the plate, you're like, everybody back up. We need to go to the wall because this one could go far. That's all I'm saying. So, okay, Lisa DiLorenzo is not a J-Mo fan, I'm guessing. So you're saying that J-Mo's still got the drops and Jared Goff still can't throw? Or is I'm lost? J-Mo's my guy. I'm the official keeper of the J-Mo, if you didn't know. Okay. You know, we address the J-Mo drops just like Terrion Arnold addressed his penalties. What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? Whenever I start talking about J-Mo, we know who's popping up. Where's Big Wolf status? The gang, we just need to get the gang all together. Where's Big Wolf status? Is he around? Somebody call him. I'm saying good things about J-Mo. Ooh, I tell you, the vitriol that some of y'all have for J-Mo is like the vitriol I have for Jeff Ohel-Nokuda. One of them is a fantastic player. One of them is trash, who's been on 4 teams in 4 years. I'll let you tell me which one is which. This dude. I'm not wishful thinking, Lisa. I'm telling you that you have different types of players. Statistically, the likelihood of Jameson Williams, who runs a 4.19, taking the ball 80 yards from your 20 is more likely than Sam Laporta, who runs a 4.6 and is not shifty because he is what, 6'7", 260, something like that. How tall is Laporta? Maybe not 6'7". Was he 6'4", 6'5"? He's a tight end. You have an explosive receiver who is Jameson Williams, who can play in the slot, who can play on the outside, who can take a short pass far, right? Who can go far to get a long pass, who can take an intermediate route far. That's all I'm saying. There's more explosive ability in Jameson Williams than there is in Sam Laporta. That is all I'm saying. 6'3". All right. Just to meet my daily quota. All right. Are you going to say something about Broderick Martin? Jeff Ohel-Nokuda sucks. Correct. So the connection between Goff and JMO has gotten better every year. Okay, and and this is what I'm telling you: the focus with this offensive coordinator that we have now is explosive plays, and he's going to exploit the chemistry that Jared Goff and JMO have built. That's all I'm saying. I'm just going from the words that are coming out of his mouth. I'm not speculating as to what he wants to do. He's told us he wants to do this. So I'm saying if he is able to execute this plan, Jameson Williams has the ability to get 1,500 yards. And I'm going off of the fact that he had the fewest targets and the fewest receptions out of any receiver in the NFL last year that had 1,000 yards. That's all I'm saying. Because he did miss 2 games due to suspension, if he does not get suspended, if he does not get injured, if none of those things happen and he gets 17 and he plays 17 games, I'm telling you, one deep shot a game of 50 yards, one every game is 850 yards. Right? He has to get an additional 650. He is used all over the field. He is used in the short, the intermediate, and the deep. Okay. If we say the deep gets you 850, okay, the short and intermediate definitely can get you 650. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's how I'm breaking it down. I don't think Sam Laporta is overrated. Sam Laporta told you himself this was the first offseason that he's been completely healthy since Iowa. Lions are going to be awesome. JMO is going to be the number 1 target this year. And again, I don't think he's going to be the number 1 target. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, based on target shares, is always going to be the number 1 target. Jameson Williams may lead the league, the team in receiving yards, but the targets are going to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown because Jameson doesn't need as many targets to get the yards because he's a more explosive player. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams are the most explosive offensive threats that we have on this team that are in the NFC North, maybe in the NFC, if I'm thinking about it, and then maybe in the league. Is there a more explosive duo on any other team in the league than Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs? I'm asking the question because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle would probably be my only competition. And we're not talking about because Tyreek fell off last year or whatever. I mean, Tua is Tua. But we're just talking about off pure ability from the players. I would say Tyreek Hill. All right, let's rank them. Okay? Or let's put him in a top 5. Okay? And you don't have to give in any order. Top 5 explosive duos on the same offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Who else? In the universe. In the world, Craig. If and buts were candy and nuts. The deep ball connection has just been okay, but it also wasn't a part of Ben Johnson's offense. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is going to be featured in Johnny Morton's offense. And that's the reason why I believe It is going to be practiced and it's going to be a focal point. Because it's practiced and a focal point, then it has no choice but to get better. We're not talking about people's personalities or anything. We're talking about their abilities on the football field. Right? We're not talking about anything other than the explosive abilities on the football field. That's why I said Jamo and Gibbs, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. You can't say Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, because Higgins is not explosive like that. You can't say Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, because which one is more explosive? I don't really know. Okay. Who else you putting up there? So I don't think his ability has fallen off. I think the stats fell off because Tua can't stay in a game. And he's like Skylar Diggins or whatever that dude's no, Skylar Diggins is a WNBA player. But what's that dude's name? Skylar something? Skylar Thomas? Like when that's the guy throwing you the football, you're not going to get stats. But we're still talking about his violence against women. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ability. Tactical Sport, Mr. Morale. Somebody give me some names now. I know y'all thinking. Give me some names. Right now we got Jamo and Gibbs. Who else is an explosive duo? Okay, so Tactical Sports says I can't think of a duo to add to that. So that's all I'm saying, right? And again, when Jahmyr Gibbs breaks a 70-yard touchdown run, just like he did in against the Titans, you're right back on the field. You got another possession coming. Okay, you didn't waste no time. It took you 30 seconds to get off the field. Jackson and Henry, I guess that's explosive in another way. Yes, we can go Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Hurts isn't the kind of explosive I'm looking at. You know what I mean? Like, it's technically, I guess you could go with Hurts. Barkley for sure. But Hurts, I don't know. AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley. AJ Brown is. Do we consider AJ Brown like a home run hitter? Okay, let's couch it this way. Okay, this duo, if they get in the open field and they get a step on you, you're not catching them. Who do you got? Okay, we got Jahmyr and we got Williams. Jahmyr and Jamo. Who else? Travis Hunter and Travis Etienne, they haven't played a snap yet, but I don't know about that. See, you see how difficult this is, right? This ain't an easy exercise. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying the weapons that we have is not something that everybody else has. Right? So when we look at the breakdown of the numbers, like, okay, well, we assume that we get this many snaps and we get this many targets and we get this many plays. The X factor is that we have two X factors. That's the issue. We have two X factors. We have two guys that can get you multiple extra possessions because you don't have to drive. You don't have to take 10, 12, 13 plays. Now, when you want to run the clock out, yeah, you want to do that, right? But anytime you get the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and put it in his hands, it can go. Anytime you give it to Jameson Williams, put it in his hands, it can go. That's my point. Bowers definitely not. He's a tight end. He can't be that guy. Pitts has the burst, but he hasn't shown you much of anything. The RB in Miami, A-Chain. J-Mo and Gibbs is like Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. Yeah, I'm talking about top speed. Like, we're getting extra possessions because of these guys. We can score in the blink of an eye. It's like a Mike Tyson microwave fight offense. You could go get some popcorn and come back, and defense is back on the field. Lamb and Pickens both are top athletes. I mean, I guess Pickens is gonna give you more production because he's gonna have a better quarterback throwing him the football. Right. So Hill and Waddle, Gibbs and JMO, that's the end of the list. Pretty much. Xavier Worthy and who? That's what I'm saying. We're not just talking about one player. We're talking about two. We got the duo of people that can touch it and in an instant it's gone. You gonna say Xavier and Rashee Rice? I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. It's gotta be both guys. So, like, you could say Miami has a trio, right? They got A-Chain, they got Hill, and they got Waddle. So they got three guys that when you touch it, it's gone. Pause. All right, so we got this new thing that they're doing on StreamYard. Let's see. Your comments will now show up on the screen. Yep, there's one. Say, yeah, bro, that's tough. I know. it's it's literally only Detroit and Miami. You know? This man said Daniel Jones and Justin Jefferson. I think that is the show. He said Daniel Jones and Justin Jefferson. Okay. All right. Oh, that is going to be it. It's gotten a little bit silly. It's gotten off the rails. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work. But I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, stay tuned. We got some other things coming. If you are not a subscriber of the Motor City Cats podcast, please, right after I get off of here, go over to Motor City Cats. Search it up on YouTube. You will see me. You'll know it's me. Okay. When you hear about the Motor City Cats, you know it's me. Okay. It's nobody else. We have some guests and things like that, but I'm the main Motor City Cats. Motor City Cat. I am Motor City Don P. What kind of production do I think for Gibbs? Man, it just depends on how they split the carries. It depends on how they split the carries. I mean, didn't he have over 2,000 or very close to 2,000 all-purpose last season? KG is I've been trying to get back in touch with KG, man, because I really want to bring him back on. But I just have to wait for him to get back in touch with me. That's all. KG's a busy man. It needs to be 60-40 Gibbs. I mean, quiet as a kept, it needs to be 70-30. I'm just saying. 70-30. And again, I'm still waiting for Jahmyr Gibbs to have his Jahvid Best moment. I just really, really want to see that. And do y'all know that I just, like this weekend, I just realized that both of their names start with J-A-H, Jahmyr and Jahvid. Two of my favorite running backs after Barry Sanders. What up, those salty pork chops? He had 14-12 rushing. What did he have receiving? Because I think he had close to 2,000, or maybe he had over 2,000. Because he went off those, I think, what did Monty miss? 4 games? He went off in those games. Salty Pork Chops, it is indeed Tuesday in Australia. I am from the future. $517 receiving yards. So, yeah, almost 2,000. What was that? 1929? Yeah, 1929. Jahvid Best could have been special. Jahvid Best, keep it real with you, could have been Jahmyr Gibbs 1.0. Right? It could have been Jahmyr Gibbs 1.0. Unfortunately, he just, those concussions, man. That really, not really those concussions, that concussion in college. That was it. So I would like to say 2,000 all-purpose yards for Gibbs, but again, because of the split of the carries, I don't know that he approaches that again. And obviously, we don't want to see Monty miss games due to injury. So probably closer to 1,500 all-purpose. for Gibbs. He led the league with 20 touchdowns last season, so you probably could say 15. So 15 and 15. 1,515 touchdowns. See, Motor City, Mr. Detroit City, that's too much. You've got to do too much. Javid Best, Reggie Bush, and Joique Bell all could have been special, but they weren't. Reggie Bush and Joique Bell were special for Detroit. Coming off of what we came off of, how many years did it take us where we had not a single 100-yard rusher, where we had not a single 1,000-yard back? They were special for us. They ended the years of futility. No, I'm not counting the postseason because the postseason isn't guaranteed for everybody. At the end of the season, tell me by stats if AJ Brown and Barkley did not have the same as Gibbs and JMO. Are you talking about this last season past, or are you talking about wait until the end of this coming season? Can y'all like see the comment? Like, I know you can see them, but are they big enough to read? Because I don't have it pulled up on YouTube. Let me see. Let me pull this up. I don't even see them. Hold on. I do. Oh, they're tiny. Nah, never mind. I don't see what the point is. Yeah, they are tiny. You cannot read those at all. Yeah, you stay in the chat. Read them in the chat. I know you can't read. I feel you. Just think second week of July starts training camp. Let's go. Yeah, I was thinking of trying to come out for like a week for training camp, but I just don't know. I think the logistics of it might just be a little bit too much this year. If I don't do it this year, I'll try to do it next year. We are less than 50 days until football activities start. That is correct. All right, guys. I am going to have to roll up and stroll up. But I appreciate y'all all for coming out, hanging out, stopping by, chilling. I know I'm the only show going on, or one of the only shows going on today. Mr. Detroit City, bro. Funny dude. All right. As I said, if you are not a subscriber of the Motor City podcast, please go over there and hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and share. And make sure that you let everybody know that the Motor City Cats are back at it. That we came to give you stats and not static. And whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. I appreciate you all once again, and we are out. Peace.